All right. Good evening, Ma. Um, Welcome to the Azizat Growth series brought to you by Azizat Development Foundation, where we explore the forefront of empowerment and economic transformation in Africa. So I'm your host today, and my name is Peju. And with each episode that we air, we uncover the stories and strategies driving Africa's prosperity, from groundbreaking initiatives empowering women and girls to fostering access to capital for MSMEs in Nigeria. So join us as we dive into the insights and journeys that are shaping the futures of our continent and our people. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing about the about leveraging government funding to grow micro and small businesses in Nigeria. So, Ms. Dieko, I would like for you to share where you think the contribution of people who finance small business owners in low-income community, what this has been like in Nigeria so far.
Okay, I didn't hear you clearly. Or I'll just guess what you said. You said I should give an insight on people that have contributed to sorry?
To funding micro businesses or small businesses.
An insight to people that have funding small businesses. That's the question.
Yes.
Okay. People that are funding small businesses. Okay, so by just way of introduction, I'll just give a brief introduction about that. Yeah, my name is Dieko, and it's an opportunity to be discussing this topic on leveraging government funding to small businesses in Nigeria. So there's different bodies that support the government. Of course, we know how important SMEs are to an economy. They contribute about, currently in Nigeria, they contribute about 48% of Nigeria's gross domestic product. So it's like a focal point for government, and it's a priority sector. Why? Because most businesses, which according to PwC, is that we have over 90% of Nigerian businesses being in the small and medium sector of the economy. So that should tell you how important that sector is. And they actually provide over 84% of employment. So it's a very important sector for the government, actually. And the government doesn't work just on its own. Just to answer your question, is they work with a lot of multilateral development banks and development financial institutions, one of which they partner with World Bank, Africa Development Bank, to structure loans for that sector. Why? You may ask why they are doing that. Yes, the sector goes beyond just what it contributes to the GDP of Nigeria. They provide employment. Is also a sector you can focus on when it comes to poverty reduction and industrialization, given that there's a lot of creativity in that sector. That's where most people play, actually. Most entrepreneurs, that's where they play. So other institutions that the government also work with are like, of course, CBN, that's the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Economic Reconstruction Fund also being part of that. You have Bank of Industry, you have Bank of Agri, microfinance banks, community banks, and local government. So the government actually works with a lot of institutions just to drill down and make their impact in that sector. So.
Oh, thank you. That's very insightful. So, what kind of funding programs are available in Nigeria, and then how can small business owners identify this funding? Because we find that most of the challenges that people face is a deficit in information. You speak to some small business owners, like the people in the market, and they say things like, "Oh, we don't know where to go. We don't know what to ask." They'll be like, "Ah, but why? Help her." So, like, how can people identify these funding programs?
Okay. I'll start with the first question. You said, what are the fundings available? Yeah, there's so many fundings available. You can't even list them all because every government comes in one way or the other, comes with one initiative or the other to support businesses. There was a time that the focus was on agri products. Right now, I think the Lagos state government, even federal government, is focusing on digital. Of course, we've heard about the renewed hope. So there's so many. There's a micro, small, and medium enterprise development fund. There's also the Anchor program, Anchor borrowers program. Also, federal government launched a program disbursing over 200 billion just to fund the micro and small, medium scale enterprise towards manufacturing. So, and of recent, there's Rapid by Bank of Industry. So there's so many of those funding out there. And like you rightly pointed out, the challenge is people getting information. And how can people get information? You can either get information by through the media or through your community, through your local government, by way of, okay, there's social media right now, so you always hear different information passing along. But the key is there has to be networking. There has to be follow through. And when I mean follow through through your community, we are talking about the micro businesses right now, which is actually the informal sector of the economy. So you will always have what pass around hearsays from one person to another. And when you're in your community, you have to ask your community leaders, what is happening? What is the government saying about this? Is there any funding outside? Is there any agenda to helping even the small businesses? And it also starts from when they even come to during the campaign. By the time you keep hearing what they have to do, their manifesto, you begin to have an insight as to, okay, what is the focus of these candidates or the other. But we're not here to preach politics. We're actually here to say, how can I get informed? The only way you can, not the only way, one of the ways to get informed is to stay close to at least the local government, to the newspapers, social media, friends, families. That's how you know. And once you hear once, you don't stop there. Your consistency in also trying to gain information also helps in you learning more and being rightly informed.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's very insightful. So this brings to the next question. People would have to meet some criteria to qualify for these programs or these microloans. And in a country like Nigeria, where it's a little bit challenging to track the credit footprint or the financial history of the small businesses. So what are the key requirements and criteria that businesses would need to meet to be eligible for a government funding?
Okay, the major thing that needs to be, that is the criteria, is documentation. Aside documentation, when I mean documentation, I mean you need to register your business. That's the first thing. Registration of business is major, but you know, these small businesses don't actually register their business. What you have, for example, is Iyabola and Co. They end it there just as a signpost, just for you to like identify their shop, not knowing that they need to register that business. Once you register your business, then you have given it like it becomes an entity. I can say I'm lending to this entity. This entity is created under maybe agri, maybe manufacturing, maybe any sector of the economy, and you can now drill your funding to that sector. Remember, funds don't just go out, it's driven towards a goal. So you have a goal and you're trying to achieve it. Now look at it, if you don't register your business, say everybody in Nigeria, they just give birth to them and we don't give a name to them. So how do you identify them? So the business has to be registered. It has to be in legal compliance. And the next thing is bookkeeping. If you have an average person on the road, even the person selling groceries on the road, when I mean groceries, you know, as little as biscuits or whatever, there's that initiative of bookkeeping is not there. So there's no financial records. And for you to be able to dissect any funding to any entity or any business, you need to be able to dissect the financials. You need to be able to know, okay, what's the cash flow like? Do they actually need this fund? What are they trying to achieve? Is there a goal? So you need to have your books intact. Bookkeeping also includes your bank account. You can use your personal account for your business, which I would advise you should have a business account, but we're talking about the grassroots right now. So majority of them just live from hand to mouth, and not that there's really any what's it called? Not that there's really any way where they keep their records. So if you sell maybe 2 biscuits today, 2 packs of biscuits, you should record it that, oh, that's 500 naira. I paid 1,000 naira for electricity today. At the end of the day, they delivered a goods worth 2,000 naira. You know, you're able to keep those records because that's what you're going to present. That's what you're going to bring majorly to when applying for those funds. Though there's some other funds that are specific. They might tell you you need this certification, you need this clarification, you need, say for example, some sectors actually require NAFDAC registration or certification to be able to do some of their businesses. Some maybe SON or the like. So you also need to have the licenses where applicable. Another thing is you also need to have structure in your business. So there has to be a structure as to what comes in, when does it come in, what goes out, how much am I able to recover? Do I have loans already running? When do I pay this? How long does it take for me to finish selling my stock? How long to say you're into livestock? How long does it take for me to rear these animals and they will be available in the market for sale? You know, you have to have a structure to your business actually, and you registering your business, you also keeping your books intact, like your financial records, also helps you to put a structure to your business. It makes it easy for investors to be like, okay, I'm supporting this business. I want to invest in this business. It makes it easy to even disburse funds to you because there's already a structure as to how the whole business runs. Also, you need to have a business plan. A business plan, I'll say, is the engine of what you want to finance. So if you don't have a business plan, how do I know what you want to finance? How do I know, okay, this is the goal you want to achieve? Are you driving towards expansion or are you driving towards, are you a new business? You understand? So if it's a new business, you'll be looking at majority of SMEs right now, they actually fund their business from their personal savings. Actually, majority of them. Well, that's when you're starting. Even when you've started, you might also still need some funds, like say, for example, somebody into tailoring. Yes, you can save up some funds, but you might not be able to buy you the equipment you need. So in that regards, your business plan or the structure will show you at what point you need to buy an equipment, at what point you need to do maintenance. It also shows if it's actually equipment financing you need or you just need a working capital to carry on the business. It will also show, okay, do you need to employ staff at a point in time if you're driving towards expansion, and it shows the social impact of whatever you're doing. So there's so many criteria, but these are the basic things that you also need. And another thing that is needed is credibility. You need to be credible. For every SME, every small business, your credibility is actually top. But that's one of the things that we lack in Nigeria right now. If I can't vouch for you, so what am I giving you? If off the top of your mind, there are some people that you can lend to. Why? Because of their track record. How are they being very faithful to paying off their debts? So that credibility also comes to play. So how does government agents, how do they check it? Now there's credit bureaus, though majority of these SMEs are not there, but at least it's a starting point that once you disburse them, or once they are able to access any form of credit at one point in time, their names are being sent to credit bureaus where you can always check. And if they don't set up that credits, they're not eligible to another funding later. So it also keeps them in check. And also matching funds, if you're eligible, actually, how do you contribute to your business? Have you done equity contribution also? There are different things that actually come to play like that. For example, there's Nigerian MSME Survivor Fund, which requires that businesses should be registered, they should have BVN, and a staff strength of about 10 employees on their payroll. So some can be as specific as that. Some can be very specific, but how do you know? You need to start from a point. Remember, we said you also need to be consistent in getting information. So you need to start at one point, register your business, keep going to that local government or following up on that your friend that is very informed on all this business, on all these government funds. So you keep following up, then you can keep getting all the documents such that whenever you hear of any fund, at least almost where they're getting all the documents required.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. So from everything you've shared now, I was able to pick that because you said we need the documentations, the credibility, the business registration and all these things. I'm just putting myself in the shoes of a typical Lagos market woman. When they start to hear things like this, they start to have their heads rolling. It's like headache. Like, the typical market woman will say, "What's in the kawato bowl?"
No, but registering your business is actually easy. It doesn't have to be like it can be a business name. It can just be like the simplest registration. Like you don't need to go all the way. A business name is just your name, right?
Yes.
You get just have a form of registration. It even gives your business a personality, which is different from you. So it's an entity. And if you start early, that market woman that started early will know that I'm driving towards a goal. What's the goal? I want to get government funding for this business. So they said first thing, go and bring your records. You will know every day you sell, you keep it in your book. Every day you sell, you keep it in your book. And do you know the funny thing? Most of these women in that space have one form of smartphone, either for them or somebody just around them that can help them in keeping those books, and just take a picture of it. And you sold two today, just write it down and take a picture of it, and can also help them in their registration. If you want to know, some of them even pay a lot of people a huge sum of money just to help them register. Whereas you can do a business name right from your system, right from your phone.
Yes. So tell me, what are the common challenges that you think businesses would face when applying for the government funding? So if I would speak from my level of understanding, I'll say one of the challenges some of these businesses will feel will be their level of literacy, impeding their ability to apply and comprehend all the requirements.
Okay. Should I say literacy? Yes, to an extent. But I think the major thing that they need, because to be sincere, if it's literacy, there are people available that have been employed to help them out in filling those forms. All they need is to get the information. So the aspect of being literate is kind of reduced because the government actually knows they know who they are dealing with. But due to the complexity of the bureaucracy also involved in government funds, I would say it's better you start preparing your documents. And the first thing that can deter that is proper documentation and certification. Most of the businesses are not registered. That's the major thing. That's the first thing that they need to do. Do you know some people don't even have NIN? Some people don't have BVN because some of them don't even have a bank account. What happens in those spaces is, oh, there's somebody that does a job that will come collect 1 naira from them today, put it in the book. That's the person that is actually kind of literate, that is keeping those records for them. But if by virtue of Aziza and wearing this financial literacy almost some done frequently in, they can get more informed as to, oh, okay, instead of me just giving my money to this agile person, which is okay because it builds the community for them. And you can also get funding just being a community of people.
Yes.
Actually. So okay. But you can go a step further and be like, okay, this Iyaramo or Iyabimbola that I'm doing, I can actually register this business. Just tell that auntie that comes to collect the 100 naira from me every day, tell her I want to register my business. Why? Because I'm driving towards being able to get government funds. And you know that some of the government funds actually come as a grant which everybody likes that. You don't need to return them, but you also need to be structured. So the major challenge the micro businesses actually face is documentation and keeping. Documentation and bookkeeping. That's the major challenge that they have. Now, if they don't have that and they now get to hear about a fund, the next challenge comes because those funding actually come with deadlines, timelines, and it could be a month, it could be 2 months, depending. So the next challenge comes of timeline on loan application. Because they didn't have documents, the business was not registered. So assuming the fund was meant, the application was meant for just a 1 month space, they would try to squeeze all those initial process, which they should have done before. They'll try to squeeze it in between. And what happens? The time runs out for them to apply for those funds or grants. So that's why it's good to mention it ahead of time, but plan yourself, register ahead, start keeping your books right from now so that you can be ready. You can be ready immediately the application or the funds comes out and you can easily apply for it. So it's also good to seek knowledge. It's also good to seek knowledge. Yeah, one other thing that happens is a lot of times there's always a mismatch of funds. Like you hear, they just say, oh, government, one thing like they're saying you should come and collect money. And they all rush there. Business, which business are you doing? Which business am I doing? They all rush there. And the next thing, they find out that their business was not part of the category of people they are attending to. Say, for example, the funds was driven towards manufacturing, and you are in the agri sector. There's already a mismatch. manufacturing. That's what the fund is meant to do, or you're in the agri sector.
Yes.
You will not be given that type of fund. So there's also a place for knowledge. You need to be knowledgeable as to what that financing is driven towards. You need to know your business so well also. So mismatch comes in types of fund. Mismatch also comes in types of what are you trying to finance. If you know your business very well, you can know, I need maybe a working capital. Working capital is just money that you use in running the business, or I need to buy a machine. So you are able to know where the fund is going to. When you're applying, you can tell them, oh, no, I just need equipment financing. No, I just need debt financing. You're able to like place it on different grounds. Then it's highly competitive. So you'll find a lot of people apply for government funds. Why? Because it's cheap. The government is always nice. They try to make it cheap. Unlike if it's a commercial loan, you know it will be pricey. Why? Because of the risk factor attached to those segments of people.
So this brings us to the final question, because we're running out of time. So I would ask, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to apply for government funding for the first time?
Okay. My advice to entrepreneurs is be informed. Be informed. I like what Aziza is doing because it's financial literacy, which a lot of people don't have. So be informed. What do I need? At least a key takeaway from this discussion is you must be registered. Your documents must be intact. There must be a structure to your business. And that's actually the basic thing that you need to access all this government funding a lot of times. And there's also a space for networking. Networking both within and outside your business sector. The local governments are there for a reason. The development financial institutions are there for a reason. So the more you network, the more information you get actually, and the more you're able to even buy social capital, because by you being diligent in getting information, you can your diligence and your persistence can also boost you to have social capital, which a lot of people lack. Social capital can even get you the grants you're actually looking for, which comes by what? By virtue of networking and also being consistent in what you need. But I'll give a short story. A mother was dropping a child at the school, and the child got out of the car and was like, Mom, let me put a figure to it, like, give me 100 naira, give me 100 naira. And the mom was like, why do you need this money? And the child said, 65 naira for my ballet class, 25 naira for my ballet costume, the remaining $10 for my meal during the ballet class. What have you said? Clarity. The child knew exactly what he or she wanted. The same way, if you're in a business, know exactly what you need, know exactly the time you need the funds. So when you're in a networking session, you're able to communicate. You're able to say exactly what you need. And it also shows that you have a good business plan and you're committed to that business. Your commitments will open doors for you. It will. I keep saying the social capital. You can actually get that from there. And you knowing your business more also makes you prompt to do things as they come out. You see these adverts, you hear the news, you watch an interview, you're able to say, oh, okay, I think this is what is missing in my business. I can plug in and quickly get the advantage from there.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for this for gracing our podcast with your wealth of knowledge. It's been very, very insightful. We hope to bring you back again soon. And yeah,
Pleasure.
thank you, Ms. Dieko. Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in today to today's episode of the Aziza Growth Series. And if you're inspired to support our mission of economic empowerment and growth, you can visit our website on www.azizadev.org. And you can also connect with us on our social media. That's at the Aziza Dev. And let's remember every action counts towards building a more equitable and prosperous Africa. So Africa's prosperity, depends on every single one of us. Thank you so much for today. We'll see you again on the next episode. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
bye.
you.
Have a lovely evening.
And you too. Thank you. Bye.